Hello everyone and welcome back to a Buzz Trip. This is day 7 of 2019's Walkabout. This day goes from Boise, Idaho up to Spokane, Washington. This last day can either go to Spokane or Coeur d'Alene. This year in particular we're going to Spokane first. From the bottom of Idaho there are basically 3 different ways you can get to northern Idaho. The way we chose to go this year, and one of my favorites, is through Hells Canyon National Recreational Area, which is in the eastern Oregon. It's a lovely area right by the Snake River up into southeastern Washington and eventually up to Spokane. Before we get started on day 7, let me say an extra special thank you to Amy's cousin Katie, who let us stay in this one-bedroom apartment they have above their garage after 4 days of camping and, more importantly, 4 days without a shower. It was a real pleasure to have a place to stay. All right, starting out in the morning, we were right near this Capitol building in downtown Boise. We headed through Boise over to the northwest side of town and eventually jumped on Highway 95 heading up into Idaho. Highway 95 was bracketed by these gorgeous little purple flowers, and eventually we took a left on 71, and that took us over to the Snake River that runs along the border of Idaho and Oregon. Running along the Idaho side of the Snake River along the Brownlee-Oxbow Highway. Eventually you get up to where the dam is and you cross over into Oregon. Once you cross over into Oregon, it's skirting the Snake River Canyon up a little bit more on the Brownlee-Oxbow Highway. Some picturesque views. Reno certainly enjoyed the view out the car. Eventually, you get up to a little town of Copperfield and you take a left on 86, heading slightly inwards towards Central Oregon. Just a few miles after you turn into Central Oregon, you take a right on the Hells Canyon Oregon Scenic Byway, which is one of my favorite little roads I've ever found that cuts up through Hells Canyon National Recreational Area. It's about 70 miles from Copperfield through to Joseph, Oregon, which is on the other side of the mountains here. It takes about 2.5 hours, though, just in the car alone, because it's a bunch of switchbacks, cutbacks, tiny little beautiful roads, and absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous drive. About halfway up, you can take a little side detour if you want. It's about a mile off the beaten path up to the Hells Canyon Overlook. It's absolutely stunningly beautiful up there. Full vista out in front of you. Lots of lovely little wildflowers. Amy, I, and Reno certainly enjoy every time we've gotten to stop here. Back on the road, time to finish the Hells Canyon Scenic Byway through Oregon up to Joseph. Once you get to the other side of the mountains, you head down Route 350 here into Joseph, Oregon, which is right here on the banks of the Wallowa Lake in the gorgeous, gorgeous northeast Oregon. Just a few miles north of Joseph, Oregon is a little town called Enterprise. This is their courthouse. A few years ago, traveling through this area, I found a little place called the Cloud9 Bakery and Cafe. I highly recommend it if you're in the area. It's a fantastic sandwich shop. And on this day, I had a lovely little date for my lunch. From there, you take Route 3 up north through Oregon, up towards the Washington border, and it starts to cut down into the Snake River Canyon. And the road winds back and forth and heads down and down and down. Partway down, you pass the Washington-Oregon border. Eventually, you get to the bottom and you cross the Grande Ronde River. At which point, of course, you start heading up and up and up. Partway, we stopped at a scenic overlook for a view. Reno got to sniff around just a little bit. And eventually, we continue on our way, climbing up and up and up more, which is awesome until you get stuck behind a hay truck. And then it's slow and monotonous. Eventually, you do get back up on top and you get back to the plains of southeast Washington, heading on Route 129 into Lewiston, Oregon. From there, it's US 195 up through Pullman, which is where this caboose is. And then you get a lot of the southeast Washington, western Idaho farmland and plains and crops. It's quite beautiful in its own way as you head up towards Spokane. By the time we got to Spokane, Reno was plumb tuckered out, and he couldn't wait to put himself to bed. And that just about does it for day 7, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the trip. I certainly did. We had a great adventure, taking 7 days to get up to northern Washington. Lots of great camping, lots of gorgeous scenery. There is no map for day 8, of course, because day 8 is at our destination, but still lots to share up in northeast Washington and northwest Idaho. We're going to go out to Lake Coeur d'Alene. But the next day specifically, we're going to go check out a site near Spokane and explain why this sign is up on the fence and why it's so damn dangerous. So come back for day 8 and find out just how close we were to losing our lives. See you next time.